Thank God for the victory. I feel like celebrating like we just won the Super Bowl, but in fact, this is bigger than any Super Bowl. It's the United States of America that's been spared judgment. Judgment at the hands of liberal Democrats who are so in line these days with Marx and Lenin and you name the communist. My gosh, this candidate that was running against Donald Trump, as we've discussed, as others have discussed, I've been watching this woman since the 90s throughout my media career in San Francisco. Thank God. Thank you, Lord, that this woman did not win. I'm recording this, whether you're listening to it or watching it on Rumble or YouTube. I'm recording this Friday evening on the 8th of November. So we've had Wednesday and Thursday and now the most of Friday to just take it in. Take it in. And you know what I did? It was a cleansing experience. Everything on my computer desktop, everything on my computer files, even pieces of paper where I had printed anything about Kamala Harris, it's all been tossed. We don't ever have to talk about her again. She's been relegated to the dustbin of political history. Oh, she might make it on a board somewhere and make bank for a season, but she'll never be involved in politics. She ain't coming back for a second term. She was so soundly rejected by the American people. Trump wins not just the electoral vote, but the popular vote. This is amazing. And I want to just share with you two terms that are very biblical, because you're going to be hearing more about this from me in the coming weeks, months, etc. There's a word called grace. Are you familiar with this word? Grace. It's a beautiful sounding word. What it really means is getting what you don't deserve. And that's what God gives to us as humans who are full of flaws and mistakes and the things we say and the things we've done. God offers us salvation. We've done nothing to deserve it, but he offers it to us. That's grace, getting what you don't deserve. Mercy is not getting what you deserve. And here's the thing. America has strayed so far from the original intent of the founders, who, of course, as you know, are now cast as racists. They're cast as white supremacists. They're cast as privileged men who are out of touch with the rest of society, whatever it may be, whatever the flavor of the day is, according to the left and their accusations. But the founders didn't intend for this to be the America that the Democrats have wanted to make it for decades now, a multicultural America. You see, the founders intended the culture to be uniquely American in that it would be the first country in the history of the world to be run without a dictator or a king or a queen or a military strongman or an oligarch. It would be a government of the people, for the people, by the people. It would be a representative republic with obviously elements of democracy. But it would not be a pure democracy. They didn't want that. They wanted it to be set up the way it's been set up. You know, the way the Democrats are trying to take it apart. They want to take apart the way it's been originally set up because they want full control. That's what this border invasion's been all about. I'm not the only one talking about this. There have been many far smarter than I who've eloquently described what's happening. They're trying to flood America and dole out all sorts of cash and goodies and freebies to these people so they'll be forever beholden to the Democrat Party so they can have a one-party system just like California, the place of my birth, the place that I've escaped from. so sad what's happened in California. One party state. And oh, by the way, and look what Gavin Newsom's doing. He's already rallying the troops to sue Trump about something because he's queued up for 2028. And guess what? He'll be flatly rejected because what people in California don't understand is that folks from outside of California don't like California. If you're a person who is from California, who has moved to another location, guess what? Right off the bat, when they hear you from California, they look at you sideways. They're thinking, did you come here to liberalize my state? That's first thought. But getting back to this culture that the American founders so desired to create, it would be a culture based upon natural law. And again, I talk about this extensively in Climate Cult. I know a lot of people think, oh, there's another book about the climate. This is Climate Follies. Okay, what's this guy going to say? We all know it's a hoax. Read this book. This is more than just the climate. This gets to the root of the issues that drive the climate agenda, the same issues that were flatly rejected by the voters, and the same issues now that Team Trump has got to start dismantling to right this ship. Because so much of this green agenda is baked into federal law, it's ridiculous. And as I describe in the book, now we've got a chance to take it apart. Thank God. This is just such a huge moment. But getting back to the founders, and everything I'm sharing with you right now, I talk about in the book. The founders knew something called natural law. It was given to us by a brilliant English philosopher in the 1600s named John Locke. John Locke, I don't think there's no indication he ever had an enemy. He was just a super, super nice guy. Everybody loved this guy. He had basically 4 PhDs: theology, philosophy, medical doctor, and a jurist, an attorney. Brilliant guy. So as he studied the Bible and studied the history of the world, he said, there are natural laws. The natural laws are, or I should say natural rights. The natural rights are life. You have a right to life. Liberty. I'll explain that in just a moment. And the pursuit of, the ownership of private property, which our founders ended up calling the pursuit of happiness. He said everybody has a right to own property, whether it's the T-shirt on your back, or the roof over your head, or the thoughts between your ears. Even if you don't agree with my thoughts, they are my thoughts and they're my property. That's why we have laws regarding, for example, intellectual property for business purposes. Private property. What is liberty? Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Liberty is this. Liberty means we all have a right to have a government that upholds something called natural law. What is natural law? Natural law is this. It's what's in everyone's heart. Everyone knows the difference between truth and lies. Everyone knows the difference between good and evil. Everyone knows the difference between right and wrong. Now, not everyone does right. Not everyone does good. Not everyone tells the truth. But these are choices that we make. But that's natural law. It's the 10 Commandments, which Jesus himself said can be summed up in this one sentence. Love your neighbor as yourself. So John Locke said, we have a right to a government that will uphold natural law. That's liberty. That's liberty. And it's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that bonds us all together as Americans and creates a distinct American culture. And that distinct American culture is a culture that has changed the world. The wealth created in this country has gone out to the far reaches of the world. And I'm not talking about through, government dole-outs, which are worthless, generally speaking. I'm talking about practical human charity. the kind of stuff that perhaps you engage in on a regular basis. Every month I write a check to this particular charity. Every month I go online and I give a donation to this particular group. That's the kind of charity that's changed the world. And America has been a center for hundreds of years, or, well, since its founding in the 1600s, when the colonies started forming. Missionaries, Christian missionaries in this country would earn money, sock it away, and use that money to go to the farthest reaches of the earth to preach the gospel, the good news, and help people. Help them not just survive, but to thrive. See, that's the American experience that's changed the world. Oh, militarily, we've also done a few things worth noting. Without our involvement in World War I, the world would not look the way it does today. Without our involvement in World War II, we might all be speaking either German or Japanese, or maybe both. Without the United States of America, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall, I can't guarantee that the Soviet Union might still be here. We've done some wonderful things. And there are still more wonderful things to do. And that's why when Donald Trump would say, we want to make America great again, the left would say, that's a racist, we're going to go back to slavery. No, we want to be an economic powerhouse. We want our military to be so feared that no one wants to mess with us and no one wants to mess with anybody. We want our economy to roar so that we can give and spread our largesse to the far reaches of the world. And yes, this will be a beacon of hope, a place where people can come and immigrate legally and be vetted properly, the way my ancestors were and likely yours as well. So, my friends, where we're going in these United States of America now is so exciting. We've got 2 years. I'm still not, I contend the House will be Republican-led. The Senate, we know, will be Republican-led. The White House, of course, Republican-led. We've got a Supreme Court that is overall more conservative than not. We've got an opportunity over these next 2 years to get so many wonderful things accomplished and so many regulations that are absolute crap to be scrapped from the books and new laws to be instituted to allow this country to thrive. Everyone has an opportunity to thrive with what's coming down the pike in these next 2 years. And I believe internationally, you're going to see bad actors come to their senses and realize, that plan we have to take over, fill in the blank, better put that on hold for now because there's a new guy in the White House and he doesn't play around. I so appreciate God showing us his wonderful mercy. I've got something over at briansussman.com I just want to share with you really quick. Mercy implies not getting what you deserve. It's my latest post, and the post is entitled, God Extends Mercy to America. I mentioned certainly the United States has drifted far off the course originally defined in our founding motto of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We'll talk about this in Climate Cult. In addition to private American charity, which has brought great aid to much of the impoverished world, and Christian organizations have poured extensive resources into spreading the good news of salvation through Jesus Christ to the farthest reaches of the planet, the left, of course, sees all of this as foolish. They'd rather send billions of dollars in taxpayer funds to aid countries that then dole out the cash, just dole out the cash to tyrants, dictators, bad actors, oligarchs. It's sickening. This has got to stop. And I'll tell you, Trump is a businessman. He's a billionaire. He knows how to make money and he knows how to properly spend it. And that's not how you properly spend it. Those days of American largesse just being thrown about the world, those days are coming to an end for now. You know, we've got such an opportunity here. And I just love that the MAGA movement, thank God for Charlie Kirk. Are you familiar with this guy? He was able to rally so many young people. And we had so many young people in the MAGA movement. And I know everybody's saying, oh, we had so many more blacks than ever, more Latinos than ever. Okay, let's cut that nonsense. We just had more people than ever who said, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm sick of being lectured by the left as to how I'm supposed to be and how I'm supposed to vote. But God has given us another chance to get things right. The Lord spared Donald Trump from death for such a time as this, and I believe it. Now listen, friends, please. We've got to pray for Donald Trump. If you're not a praying person, it's time to get on board. The left ain't done with him. You know, Gavin Newsom's queuing up for some kind of lawsuit. Don't know what that entails exactly. And by the way, this election has not been certified yet. The electoral votes have not been officially counted in the manner in which they, will be eventually. But I'm just telling you, don't allow these last several days of silence to cause you to get your head off the swivel. Because I guarantee you, the left right now, they are planning and scheming like little demons. Little demons trying to figure out a way to take this guy down. I remember the statistic. I don't have it before me, so I don't remember it specifically. But there is a statistic. And I think it came about by, it might have been Gallup or one of the large polling groups. The percentage of Democrats that literally wished Donald Trump had been assassinated is not just astounding, it's sickening. You know, these people, these cruel bastards, wish in their heart of hearts that the results from those attempts might have been a little different. That's the potential evil we all have in our hearts, to think those kind of awful thoughts. Even for a moment. We all have that potential. And at some point in our lives, we have all thought crazy things about other people in terms of retribution, getting even, etc. But let me get back to this piece at briansussman.com. I wrote this on Wednesday. Last night, he clearly won the presidency, and fellow Republicans took the House and Senate, not to forget gaining a lead in the governorships across the nation. We now have an opportunity to roll back insane laws and regulations that have stifled our inalienable rights, allowing the Socialists and the Democrat Party to gain more control of our lives. Now we must continue in prayer for Donald Trump and this nation. The left is going to try their damnedest, I write, to put Trump in prison for those ridiculous, unfounded, so-called criminal charges. Now, that may be completely over right now, but don't underestimate these Democrats. They're schemers. They're not giving up. And they've still got a little time to use their lawfare tactics. We must also pray for a genuine revival that witnesses millions of people embracing faith in Jesus Christ as Lord. I'm serious, my friends. He is the way, the truth, and the life. I'm not sure what your religion may be, or maybe no religion at all. But that's something you should seriously consider privately in your own heart. And I believe you will. Meantime, the radicals are planning to take action. Listen to this. An opinion piece in Wednesday morning's Washington Post was headlined, "The second resistance to Trump must start right now." He will probably even, and then the piece goes on to say this. That was the headline. The piece says, he will probably be even more extreme, radical, and cruel in his second term than he was in his first. By the way, that editorial was written by the editorial board of the Washington Post, so it wasn't like a guest commentator. But let me just ask this question. What does the rest of the world think? Now, I guess I could go to headlines from around the world, but I'm just thinking of my friends from around the world. I have a Bible study that I host every Saturday morning. It has men from all over the world. We've been meeting ever since COVID. And some of these men are pastors, and some are missionaries, and some are just regular working guys. And we have quite a spread in terms of ages. But we have a lot of guys around the world. And I will tell you this, my friends in Eastern Europe, my friend in the Middle East, my friends in South America, also Great Britain, where I did some speaking earlier in the month of October. They are all very excited about a Trump victory. And they know how much influence a U.S. president can have on their countries. They are thrilled. They are thrilled. And I'm thrilled because in a chapter of my book, I talk about all the plans that the left had regarding a Kamala Harris presidency and how they just wanted to put a fork into this global warming issue and use it to put in place programs that are so radical and so costly. One of them being the Green New Deal. You can kiss that new Green Deal goodbye. Na 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 na, hey hey, goodbye. Kiss it goodbye, man. Give it a big fat kick in the ass. Get it out of here. We do not need the Green New Deal. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's Green New Deal. Now, something that I wish I would have found this and would have been able to put it in the book. I only discovered this a few weeks ago, and I may have talked about it in the last edition of the podcast. But Kamala Harris and AOC actually got together when Kamala was in the Senate. It was called the Climate Equity Bill, or Climate Equity. Whenever you hear someone on the left use the word equity, it means get even. We're going to get even. We're going to settle the score right now. And this climate equity thing would be a bit worth billions and billions and billions of dollars in the name of climate to frontline communities, as they describe them. This would have been one of the biggest cash distributions in the history of the world in the name of getting even. So we don't have to worry about that. And now we don't have to worry about this Green New Deal. Because as I discuss in Climate Cult, the price of this new Green Deal, it's astounding. Let me find this for you. I believe it's on page, where is it? The cost of the new Green Deal. Hold it. Okay, got it. Total cost. This is page 269. Financial estimates of the proposed Green New Deal. Now, the Inflation Reduction Act was the worst bill ever when it comes to this climate bogus stuff. Hundreds of billions of dollars. But this Green New Deal would have even surpassed that. So Republican lawmakers consistently price it at 93, are you ready for this? Trillion. 93 trillion. If you're going to do the Green New Deal properly, 93 trillion. Leftists like Noah Kaufman, former researcher with the Obama administration, current scholar at the Columbia University Center on Global Energy Policy, says the Green New Deal will cost basically nothing. Basically, you're an idiot. Come on, really? Nothing? Nothing costs nothing in Washington, D.C. Nothing that the government produces costs nothing. Meanwhile, the cost for reaching the Biden administration's goal, just forget the Green New Deal, just the Biden administration, the Biden-Harris administration's goal of a net zero carbon emission United States of America by 2050. So net zero. That means basically No more gas-powered cars, no more diesel-powered trucks. That HVAC unit that runs on, gas, forget that. Everything's going to be solar, wind, pretty much. Little nuclear. Yeah. Maybe a few dams won't be torn down, just left to generate electricity. But that's what they have. That's what they had. I love it. That's what they had planned. But this is from McKinsey and Company. This is a private firm. Well, maybe they're publicly owned, but you know what I mean. They're not government company. McKinsey and Company. Great at doing audits. Great at doing fiscal analysis. You know how much they say? Just forget the Green New Deal. Just the Harris-Biden net zero plan for 2050 would cost $275 trillion. Trillion dollars. Pick up your copy. There is so much information in here, and I've got basically an entire chapter that I believe the Trump administration will probably employ in order to make America great again. I am so pumped, and I know you are as well. So, my friends, I pray for the safety of this nation. I pray for Donald Trump's safety. I pray that you will just stuff a big rag in the mouths of these liberals, these democrats, these agents of evil. Thank you for having mercy on the United States of America. And may we spread the good news of salvation to the farthest reaches of the earth. Amen. Thank you, my friends. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it. Tell somebody else about it. I look forward to our next gathering. And until next time, God bless you, my friends.